Hi everybody, and thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk about memoir writing. Now, I've been teaching for many years, and I think I've been able to hone it down to 5 key tips that are guaranteed to make for a better memoir. So first and foremost, let's remember you're not writing your whole life story. We're not in the business of autobiographies. For most of us, it's about 800 to 1,000 words. Okay, so step number 1 is we need to pick an event or an experience that has depth. If we want people to read about our experience, it needs to not be superficial or surface level. So step number 1 is to pick an event with depth. Now, this doesn't mean that it has to be the most traumatic or depressing moment of your life. In fact, if you're uncomfortable writing about those things, especially for school, then that's totally okay. It can be about positive things in your life or positive relationships in your life as well. Ideally, we want something that has changed you in some way or changed your perspective in some way. I like to draw this for my students. You see this arch here? We call this really a character arc, and we need to see that you have changed in some way during that journey. So there's you before the event, there's you during the event, and then we need some reflective perspective building afterwards to see how has it shaped who you are and how have you changed. Examples from previous years include significant friendships, a loss in the family, that could be a family pet even, first jobs, changing schools, hobbies that have helped students to get through really tough times in their lives, passions, medical diagnoses, family changes, etc. So whatever event or experience you choose, just check with yourself, are there deeper themes here? And is it going to make for an engaging memoir? Step 2 is something called voice. Now, this is not a spoken task. We're obviously handwriting in an exam or you're typing on your computer. So when we say voice in English, this is things like word choice, tone, and essentially your style of writing. We all have a unique style. I even have a fashion style that you're seeing right now. I have a spoken style. It's quite conversational, often quite casual. I can be formal if I need to be, of course. But when we're talking voice, it's these things that come together, your word choice, your tone, your style of speaking. And underscoring all of this is my huge emphasis to you. Sound like you, okay? So wherever possible, be authentic in your word choices and your tone. Don't be afraid to use some humor. Don't be afraid to use some sarcasm. Take us through different tones in your writing and even bring in some really kind of funny language that is unique to your life. Some informalities are a-okay. But please, don't be too rigid. Don't be too formal. This is an authentic style of writing, so sound like you. Number 3, we're now talking figurative language. Fantastic. So this is things, of course, like simile, metaphor, extended metaphor, imagery, personification. Maybe you want to do an analogy. You can Google that later. I want to emphasize here, and I've got some notes from class today, is when you're doing similes, try not to use cliches. I'm going to add here avoid cliches. And when we say cliches, that's a word for repeated phrases that we hear a lot. So something like plenty more fish in the sea, it's a bit of a cliche. Or think eye roll phrases when we use descriptions. Here's some that I can't stand in student writing. My students will laugh when I say I don't want to know about nervousness feeling like butterflies. No, I don't want to see it. It's too cliche. I don't want to hear about emotions being described as a roller coaster. I've heard it just too many times. I certainly don't want tears falling down like, yup, you guessed it, waterfalls, okay? All of this stuff is overused and it becomes cliche. So when you're doing similes or metaphors, try to make them unique, try to make them interesting. For example, I talked to my students yesterday about a teenage version of myself being at the pool, at the beach, in Bundaberg, and I was lathered in lots of sun cream. I had a huge long sleeve wet shirt on. My family were very sun smart. So I asked them to come up with a simile for this. And one person suggested that I looked like a drowned rat. And I said, you know what, it kind of works, but it's a bit cliche. We've all heard that phrase, drowned rat. So some other students, we worked on this for a little while. Instead of drowned rat, they said that I looked like the Michelin Man. I thought it was great. Someone said I must have looked like a pale ghost. Somebody said like a wet dog. Someone even said that I must have looked like a soggy burrito. Awesome. So all of these examples of figurative language are far more interesting than cliches. So the more interesting, the better, but don't go too hard on them. Don't use them too often. So we're saying avoid cliches and go big. Go big on imagery because that's your way of establishing place and time. So if your event took place 5-6 years ago, things were very different back then. If your event took place during COVID, things were very different back then. So use imagery, lots and lots of detail, zoom into your life as a way of placing me, the reader, in your story. So for instance, if I was writing about my teenage years in Bundaberg, I'm already picturing cane fields, long flat roads, the smell of sugarcane burning, the smell of cigarettes at the shops after school. I am seeing takeaway food stores and shopping centres, as well as the hummock, the only hill in town. So shut your eyes and think about visual detail in your writing, but also markers of time as well. For instance, I might mention we were all using dial-up internet at the time. Most of us had a little flip mobile phone, if we had a mobile phone at all. In grade 10, 9/11 happened, or grade 11, the bigger terrorist event in America. These are just little small details that I could sprinkle in to set this place and time. This is post-Spice Girls. Different pop bands are big at the time. So with specificity, you can really place us in the moment. Great, so number 4 is layout and structure. Excellent, so this one's a little short one, but a couple of key points. In your layout, we want short paragraphs in a memoir. Please don't give us any of that peel-teal stuff. Short paragraphs, one-word paragraphs, one-line paragraphs are totally okay. This is creative writing after all. In your structure, I'm simply bringing us back to some basics like an interesting hook to engage us at the beginning, lots of detail in the middle with imagery and inner reflection, and in your conclusion, reflecting on how you have changed as a result of this event. Last but not least, punctuation. Excellent. So this is really the secret sauce of a good memoir, is someone who is being confident with their punctuation. For me to sound like me when I'm typing or handwriting, I have to be confident in my punctuation because it's using those symbols that help you know when to breathe and how to interpret my word choices. So go beyond full stops and capitals, please, and try a colon, Try a semicolon. I once offered a chupa chup to any student of mine who was able to successfully use a semicolon in an exam, and they did it, and they did it really, really well. So be brave. Try an M dash. How about try some rhetorical questions throughout your memoir? Take us into the thinking. I remember thinking, how long will this last? Will things ever get better? Why am I still here? A little bit of repetition of rhetorical questions is always cool. How about brackets? I bet you never thought about doing those. Guess what? If I was writing, that would be in brackets. It's sort of a little afterthought. It's good for sarcasm. The sun is coming in now, so I'm going to wrap up. But think brackets, question marks, colons, semicolons. Literally vibe with it, because it's the only way. It truly is the only way that the voice can come across as you intend it to, okay? And without that heart and soul of your unique voice, you will not bring this bit to life. It doesn't matter how good your experience or your idea is, without these things underpinning it, we cannot get off the ground. So, good luck with your writing and take care.